Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadToRuder.com. Was on a show last night with Jean-Claude and Penny Kelly. Go over to Jean-Claude, JEAN-CLAUDE, at Beyond Mystic on the Rumble channel, and you will get to hear the chat. It was 2 hours. It was great. One of the things I talked about that I rarely talk about, I've talked about it in the past, is the real story behind the gold in the Grand Canyon. There's the stuff that's reported in the media, all the placer gold that's in the banks of the Colorado River, over a billion ounces. They said many billions of ounces within the Colorado River, all the way running down through the Grand Canyon. You are not allowed to go there. You are not allowed. Thou shalt not enter. I think 90% of the caves in the Grand Canyon are closed to hikers or humans. Crazy. It's crazy that we allow this most important spot on the planet, probably, to be unexplored by humanity. Well, the deep state is in there. The government behind the government is in there, and they have been since the early 1900s. Massive amounts of gold. But I got to talk about the conspiracy side of this, which is the woo-woo side, that there are actually massive caverns, warehouses, literally, full of gold statues, gold trinkets, gold crosses, gold bars, you name it, gold everything within the Grand Canyon. We did a remote viewing on it, and voila, two of the four remote viewers saw these massive canyons. All of them saw Egyptian-like structures within the Grand Canyon. That's why you're not allowed to go there. You're not allowed to explore there. You know, they can invent whatever reason they want, but that's the reality. Go check out the discussion. It's pretty cool. All right, what's silver doing today? It was starting to go down, and then they brought it back up, remember? It's all on a computer program, written in the early 70s by Alan Greenspan, implemented by the Fed, the Exchange Stabilization Fund. That's where we are. That's what we're breaking free of. That's why you've hodled silver your entire life. Had I known it would take so long? I mean, literally, this is what is it, 170 years of price suppression since the Opium Wars in silver. I still would have invested in silver in the mid-1850s and waited this whole time for the end game. And the end game is the release of silver from the bonds of the market riggers. These are official bonds now, most likely, besides the banking bonds, the JP Morgans of the world, the Bank of Americas, the HSBC, stuff like that. We're about to break free, I believe. So I don't know if it's going to happen next week during the election. I don't know if it's going to happen between the election and the inauguration. I don't know if it's going to happen right after the inauguration. I do believe it's going to happen, and it can't be stopped. The fact that Russia just said they're going to add silver to their treasury, holy moly, there's not enough silver for any countries, much less a country so big as Russia. So this is a definite attack on the banking cabal. So is what China is doing with solar panels. They will produce, they will install, they will do everything they can, which means they need massive amounts of silver. My determination, off-the-cuff determination this year is probably 450 million ounces will be needed of silver in the solar industry only. And then you got probably another 150 million to 200 million in electric cars. They lie about that. I saw the Silver Institute said the other day that it was only 60 million going into the cars. That's the most ridiculous thing ever. No, it's like 150 or 200 million. We're basically at 100% of the silver that comes out of the ground is being used up, and there's nothing left for investors. And it's being used up in mostly industrial, probably 80% industrial now. Next year, it will be probably 100% industrial. They won't tell you that, of course. The criminals over at the Silver Institute and Metals Focus that love to massage numbers, they won't tell you that, but it is a fact. And you can yell all you want and scream all you want. The amount of solar being installed is it's required by the governments that you report how much solar that you're putting in, so you can brag to the world, hey, look, we're putting in all this solar. We're not the bad guys. China's the one polluting. Well, China's putting in more solar than anybody else. They'll put in half the solar of the total world installations this year. It is, and it's not stopping. It doesn't matter if it's uneconomic. They don't care. They're killing two birds with one stone. One of the birds is, oh, China's the worst polluter in the world. We hate China. Okay, they're going green. And the other one is, oh, by the way, they're taking all the silver to destroy the banking cabal. You couldn't write this down in a script, although it most likely probably was scripted. So that's where we are. We're at a point in time where silver is ready to, real silver, not silver mining shares, not SLV, the real thing, holding it in your hand. There won't be exchanges open when the banking crash happens. COMEX might shut down even before that. I think at $50, when silver flies by $50, I think the COMEX is going to shut down because their scam isn't working anymore. It can be easily seen on the 1-year chart, which you can see the current price is way above their moving averages. They need to slam it below their moving averages, but they're finding each one of these times they slam it below, India is buying massive amounts of silver, like massive amounts. Unheard of amounts. 1 year they did 300 million. I think they might tie it this year, which is shocking because with all the silver going to China, there's not going to be no silver left. Unobtainium is what Cliff is calling it in his latest data. And it starts literally any day. Any day between now and inauguration, you're going to see the price of silver start to run, and you're going to be too late to buy. So buy it now. Get it in your own possession. Go to your local coin shop. Make those relationships. I just called my coin guy today. Make those relationships. But get 3 or 4 if you have a big city. If you don't have any, hey, call Andy Scheckman. Send Andy Scheckman of Miles Franklin an email saying, what do you have in inventory? I need silver ASAP. Send it to info at milesfranklin.com. And he will get you. I always say buy inventory because you don't want to be waiting 2-3 weeks, especially at this time, for your silver. If they got to go source it from somewhere else, or it's coming out of the, it's scheduled to come out of the U.S. Mint. I highly recommend pre-65 coinage. That's the number. If you live in the United States, that's what you want. If you live in a different country, you want the national currency, the national coins. Maple Leafs in Canada, Australia, what do they got? The Perth Mint, whatever the Perth Mint fraud is doing. Britannia's if you live in Great Britain. Krugerrands, silver Krugerrands if you live in South Africa. Why? Because we are moving at a time when gold and silver are returning as money. They might say, oh, that random bar you have isn't that valuable and we're not going to turn it into money. We're the government. We're going to try to control the amount of money in circulation. So you're going to have to sell that to a manufacturing company, which I think there'll be plenty of offers. And by definition, all coinage has to be more valuable than the bulk silver. Has to be. Otherwise, people would just melt down the coinage and make silver bars. And I think it'll be substantially more, maybe 50 to 75% more valuable. And it'll be tracked. Each individual coin will be tracked. And they can do that. Honeywell invented a system, and it was run by David Ryder. That program was run by David Ryder, yep, the U.S. Mint guy, twice the U.S. Mint guy for the good guys. And he was getting ready to go when Trump took the next presidency in 2020. And they had even put a notch in gold and silver eagles so that you could position it perfectly for the scanner. And then they take the scanned image of the crystalline structure of the coin and they attach a blockchain, a wallet number to it. So there you go. You've got your gold silver standard with one of the big problems, carrying gold and silver around in your pockets, out of the way. You can put them on a blockchain as long as you trust enough, so it has to be redeemable. Trust enough the entity holding your silver or your gold. Or you can hold it yourself and walk around with, silver dimes to buy your next, 10-course meal. Yes, silver and gold are going to cross because there's less silver in the world than there is in gold. Much less. And there's a ton of silver that nobody knows about. Not nobody. A lot of people know about it. Tell the Federal Reserve wrote it in their damn comic book. Massive amounts of gold in the Grand Canyon, for example. Plus all over the world. I mean, just read Sterling and Peggy Seagrave's book, Gold Warriors, and you'll say, holy crap, this is talking about like 300,000 tons? I thought Jeff Christian told me there was only 200,000 tons. What's going on here? One of the key things in valuing anything is knowing how much there is. That's why Bitcoin is so valuable. You can't make more than 21 million coins. And they've already made them, most of them. I think we're over 19 or 20 million already. But again, that with the halving, the last Bitcoin won't be made until 2130, something right around there. Won't be mined. And it'll be a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a Bitcoin. Very interesting. Anyway, yes, so that's what they do. The bankers allow it to go over the 100-day and 200-day moving averages, and then they try to slam it down. The problem is these last two times, India has just sopped it all up and had to jump right back up. The Indians are not buying above the 200-day or the 100-day moving average. They aren't. Below it, they started to, right here. It used to be back here when they really loaded up at the beginning of the year. Because right down here is below both, and they were load up the cart. I think it was 180 million ounces in 3 months or something around there. I haven't looked at it in a while. So that's where we are. This is the end game. And you can see from the last Commitment of Traders report that I talked about on the private road that, yes, the commercials are doing the same thing. They're shorting, but they don't have the kind of power they used to have. And this could be the end. They could slam it again. Remember, they clicked the mouse and put the price of oil at minus $40. It was shocking. Everyone's like, what? This can't happen. But it did. And I'll guarantee you that JP Morgan made out like bandits on that one. Because they're usually behind the biggest rigs. Still behind silver, absolutely. Still the biggest, I think they're the biggest taker of silver on the COMEX every month. And HSBC is the biggest supplier. So that there was a lease deal through Bank of America, JP Morgan to Bank of America to HSBC, which I think is still the hedge operator for the U.S. Mint. It's a crazy situation there. We had a coup at the U.S. Mint. They've taken it over and they've run it into the ground. But they're very diverse. It is ridiculous. Anyway, so yep, we're looking strong. Silver's looking strong. It can go anyway. That's why you have to be on the sidelines with the silver in your own possession. Physical silver is going to be worth so much more than SLV or mining shares. Massively. You're going to see the prices of physical silver skyrocket as the banks collapse. Then the markets will shut down. Then you won't be able to get silver at any price, and we got to start new markets. That's what's headed right down the pike. So be ready for it. Peter Hambro just came out and said, how to buy gold at a discount. Woo! Peter Hambro of the Hambro banking family. The Hambro banking and mining family. They are absolutely knee-deep in the rigging through Peter's son, Evie Hambro. But if you look at the Hambro family, that goes back and back and back. Let's see, Evie right here is the son of Peter, and it goes back Lieutenant Colonel Hambro, and he was the banking guy. These are the royal bloodlines going back in England. Son of General Sir Percival Hambro, another educated at same places, lived and worked at the same places. Percival Hambro, son of Charles Hambro. I mean, we're going back to the 1700s, the banking family of the Hambros. Son of Joseph Hambro. So this was, I think, the guy who started all, Kalmar Joachim Hambro. So Kalmar Joachim Hambro, married. He was born in 1747. He was the founder, there you go, founder of C.J. Hambro and Sons Silk and Clothing Merchants, developed into a bank like all the merchants did in the 1700s, especially out of Denmark. And then voila, the Hambro family finally kicks out Evie Hambro, the head of BlackRock, gold and silver mining, among other things. Knee-deep in the gold and silver control business, of course, as BlackRock is. Now, they are not a bank, so they don't have to report like banks do. But there's no doubt in my mind that they are knee-deep in gold and silver, and Evie's running that show for them. Much like Blythe Masters ran the rigging show for Jamie Dimon at J.P. Morgan back when they had 3 investigations, couldn't find anything, and Trump's DOJ finds everything on them. And then Jamie Dimon tried to kick back, and Trump said, okay, we're going to add RICO charges to what you did, which means you have to pay back 3 times what you stole. They stole about 1.2 billion ounces of silver. They would have to pay back 3.6 billion ounces of silver. And Jamie Dimon said, fine. I won't mess with you, Trump. So, yeah, who do you think's scared right now about Trump winning the election? I guarantee you Jamie Dimon is shaking in his boots. And they will do anything such that Trump doesn't get in. I don't think it's going to work. That's what I got for you today. You want to join the private road at roadtoruta.com. We're doing a lot over there lately. Go to roadtoruta.com. Click on subscribe today. We're currently giving away 10 Theta, 100 Theta Fuel, 1,000 TD Drop. These are for the future. Theta is like the forgotten token. Nobody in the U.S. can buy it. It's all, they want to hide the good stuff from you. Just like they've been hiding silver for 170 years. Theta obviously hasn't been around 170 years, but it is necessary to move forward, especially if China invades Taiwan. There'll be no more computers out there, so how will AI grow? Use what's already there. And that's what Theta invented, a way to share computer processing power, share broadband, and share the storage capacity for cloud storage. Decentralized cloud, they're partners with Google, with Samsung, with Sony, all the big guys, Amazon. You might say, well, cryptos are moving, but why isn't Theta doing anything? It's too important. We've seen this before. Silver's too important to allow to move, and that's what Theta is. Too important. Get as much as Theta as you can in your own possession and watch the chaos hit. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you.